driving to a convention. I'm going to stop and pick my husband up first. We have some we have some work to do on our car, but I'm on a gravel road right now, and I'll be on concrete very soon. But I'm here to talk to you just a little bit about your tutoring business and things that you could be doing wrong in your tutoring business. Now, I used to drive to all of my tutoring appointments, and I no longer do that. What I found is it was really costing me a lot more to run my business, and I also found that I could be more efficient and use it's a little bumpy here, use better resources online than I could continually making them. Yeah, because at the time I was going to people's houses and I was working mostly with math, a little bit with reading, but mostly with math, and I was always trying to take games, and so then I was constantly making these games and reviewing skills, and yet still relying on things like IXL for questions, so that as we played the game we could move forward and things like that, and it just was not super efficient. So mistake number one for me was driving to people's houses. I looked at the number of miles I was driving. I drive a larger vehicle, and it takes a lot of gas, and distance from my house to at that time my closest student was right around 24 miles, and so that's 48 miles round trip, and so that's quite a bit of money in gas, and I was not charging enough to do that. I also did not relish the thought of driving in winter storms, and so for me, I had to make the determination that I was no longer going to put myself in maybe some compromising situations living out in a rural area, and driving from place to place just no longer was going to work for me. Now, if you are driving from place to place, what I am going to tell you is, okay, finally a paved road. What I am going to tell you is keep track of your mileage, because you can give your mileage in on the report. I don't think you can do the gas, because I think you have to choose one or the other, but I am not a tax person. I leave all that up to the people that are in charge, so maybe check that out. Keep both receipts. You'd have to kind of know what goes where, and keep that primary vehicle for that particular purpose. I need to slow down here, coming through town, and there's a cop. So I probably shouldn't be using my phone, but I am. Okay, so we'll keep going. So keep track of all of your expenses, and then what I'm going to tell you is that, hang on, I gotta honk at somebody. I just honked. My husband's filling up with gas. Then what I'm going to tell you is that another mistake that I made was not using software soon enough. Software seems like a really simple thing to do. You could probably use QuickBooks or something like that, but I didn't have QuickBooks. Not really sure why we don't have QuickBooks. I've tried to get my husband to use QuickBooks in our farming operation, but he's very old school, so he's still using like a 1995 version of Microsoft Money. I cannot believe that it's still working, but he's hoping to retire within the next, 5 to 10 years, and so maybe it will last that long, who knows. But software is something to really consider, and I'm talking like business management software. There's probably a lot of stuff that's out there that I don't even know about, but me in particular, and so I can only speak from one aspect, I use Tutorbird. I am not sponsored by Tutorbird, but I will leave my link in the description, and you can try it out for a month. But what I'm going to tell you, that software allows me to do a lot of things, and so let's break that down right now. Number one, it allows me to host a website. Prior to that, I was using WordPress. WordPress is probably really great if you are a website builder and you are master of all things, but I was leaving the classroom and becoming a tutor, and so that was a huge learning curve for me. As a matter of fact, I spent a lot of probably very useless hours on my website that were very useless. My website did well, but it didn't do what I wanted it to do, and so I was looking for plugins all the time, and I was spending extra money. And so while you can use WordPress for free, I was not able to use WordPress for free because I needed to have these upgrades, and so that just didn't work. So this is kind of in conjunction with my calendar. I was using Google Calendar to do all of my scheduling, which actually does work quite well. And I know a lot of tutors that still continue to use their Google Calendar for their scheduling. But what I found is what I wanted to have the capacity to do, allow parents to schedule their own time with me if I had open times. And I wanted parents to be able to just log in to like their calendar, make changes, cancel appointments, do all the things that really can't do if you're using a Google website. Like, I suppose they could go in and say they're not coming. And that works. I mean, if you want to do it that way, I'm going to tell you to do it that way. But I wanted like one thing that it was going to pay for that would do all of this, okay? So Tutorbird allows my parents to do that. I have a contact form. They can log into their portal. They can see where their students' lessons are. They can find extra time with me. They can message me. They can do everything within the Tutorbird account. Plus, they get their invoices through Tutorbird. So my parents pay me for the month in advance. So they pay me, like, if I have scheduled on the calendar, let's say 8 meetings with their student, they pay in advance for those 8 meetings, and then I am held accountable for providing those services. And it works out well because I know what my schedule is most of the time a month in advance, because I try to plan a month ahead. So I look at my calendar and say, well, what are we doing this month? Do I need to take any time off? And then I block it off. Well, then I can send messages to my parents, which I need to do a reminder today since I'm going to this convention. I am not going to be able to do my lessons because I've got meetings in the morning and meetings in the evening. And so they already know they don't have lessons, but I have a feeling somebody's going to forget and try to log into the meeting tonight and go, Sheryl, where are you? So I will be able to go into my Tutorbird account and I will be able to message everybody. One message, and it's all blind carbon copies so they don't get people's emails. It's very secure, and I can just say, hey, just a reminder, no lessons until January, I think it's 27th, and then I will be back to my normal schedule. With a reminder that, again, I will be gone another week in February. And so I just let my parents know that. And, okay, so you're all like, well, why would you be gone? Why wouldn't you just continue to teach while you're traveling? Well, in my particular instance, I only have one student that I meet with in the mornings, and everybody else is in the afternoon. And that's actually when I'm at these convention activities. It's in the afternoon. So it doesn't really work for me. If I'm going to pay to go to the convention, I probably should go and do the things that we're paying for, or however that's working out. And so I need to make sure that I'm there. Okay, so we talked about a website. We talked about messaging, basically, calendar, messaging, and invoicing. And what I really like about the invoicing is that in Tutorbird, it automatically creates the invoice. So I'm not sitting there creating the invoice. I was literally doing all of my invoices myself, creating a very detailed invoice for the parents, along with notes about what the student had learned during the month, and it was taking me hours to send out my invoices. And at that time, I think I had like 7 or 8 students when I first started using Tutorbird. Maybe I only had 5. I don't remember. A handful. And right away, I noticed a significant change. And only this year, and I've been using Tutorbird, I think, for 2 years now. This year is the first year that I used the business reports, because I wasn't like putting all of my expenses and everything in there. I was keeping track on a separate sheet. And boy, it didn't take me maybe 10 minutes to run a report for my taxes. And so I have my, let's see, what do you call that? You get your net at the end. So your income minus expenses gives you your net income. So I was able to determine that very quickly. And it's all right there. And so now also I can send a digital copy to our accountant. And we have an accountant because my husband has his own business. And so we let our accountant find, everything that we need to have. But it's all in my report. So they can look. Now, I don't keep track of mileage. I probably should, because sometimes I do drive places to get like office supplies or marketing materials. But for the most part, it's really not enough for me to say, yeah, this is really important too, because I have enough other expenses to offset some of those things. So yeah, that's really what I really like about Tutorbird. So mistake number 2 was not using the software soon enough. And then mistake number 3, and this will be the final mistake that I'm going to talk to you about, was not investing in enough marketing, okay? Which sounds really odd. If you see me anywhere, you see me posting to YouTube, posting to TikTok, putting stuff on Instagram, putting things on Facebook. And that works. It really does work. But I've learned a couple of lessons this year. I've tried a few things, and I think they work, but they're a lot of work, okay? Ooh, I think they work, but they're a lot of work. They are a lot of work because I show up in person. So I am active in our business club, and that works because other businesses know me, like me, support me, I support them, blah, 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 blah. That's important, okay? I volunteer in my community through our business group. Our most recent volunteer thing I was not able to help with, but I'm helping with another event in February. And I stay visible. And when I show up, guess what? I wear my shirt. I have a shirt that says Tutoring with Sheryl. And I just had my friend in town who owns a little business make me a new one. It's super cute. She just put a little printout thing, and she's got a Cricut. She put it on a shirt that's maybe a size too large, but I requested a larger one. And put my little saying on the back, and I can wear that all over the place, and I'm super excited about it. So being a part of those business groups might cost you a little bit, whatever the monthly or the yearly fees are, dues are, but then you show up and people get to know you, and it's so important that your community knows that you're out there, especially if you are a virtual tutor like I am. I don't have a sign above my door that says, hey, Sheryl's in the office today. They're not going to know if I'm in the office or not. Like, look, I'm driving to a convention. Okay, so that's something else, like visibility. That might be free, but it also might cost you a little bit of something. Hang on, I got to merge. Continuing to talk about things that I made mistakes as far as marketing part is concerned. I wasn't paying anything for my marketing. Like, I was just like, I might pay for a booth someplace and see 500 people that day in my area and hand out a bunch of free resources, which is actually quite expensive, and maybe only get a client, maybe if I was lucky, or get 0 clients. And then I've spent money on parades. I like parades, so I'm still willing to do this one. And then just throwing little things out. I haven't quite found the right thing to throw out. Go back and look at some of my videos on different things that I've done for parades. It's kind of cool. I dressed my car up. This last year I did a Dr. Seuss theme, and I put signs all over my car, and so next year I got to come up with a new theme. I really liked it. Do I really need to come up with a new theme? I don't know. But anyway, throughout marketing materials. So all of that costs me money. Now, that's good for visibility around here, but I can accept students from anywhere, and I prefer students in the United States, but I'd be willing to work with a Canadian student, but you'll pay me a little bit more because it's US dollars, not Canadian dollars. But anyway, I did a radio campaign, and I've done 2 radio campaigns, and only one of them actually produced a student. And I'm going to tell you about both of those. The radio campaign that produced a student was where I wrote out my own script for the producers to read. They had somebody record it, and then they ran it 3 times a day for 10 days. And I believe that ran me right around $250. And all of you are choking on your coffee right now because you're like, no way. You know, as educators, we don't want to spend money, right? We don't have any money to begin with, but we have to spend money to make money. Did you hear me? We have to spend money to make money. So that campaign actually resulted in somebody hiring me, but I did it in conjunction with a bunch of signs that I also put out on county roads and places that were visible. Like, I might ask a friend, can I put this sign in your yard for the week, and I'll come pick it up, and then give them a little something in return, a gift certificate to a coffee shop, or bring them a homemade pie, or make them some cinnamon rolls, something like that. Because you can't just put your signs anywhere. You have to ask permission. And if they live in an HOA, they might not even be allowed. However, my mom has let me put her sign out twice in her HOA. I've only kept it there for a week, and she hasn't been called on it yet. So far, so good. But if the HOA would ever complain, then, you know, she'd have to take the sign down. I'd have to take the sign down. So the radio ad that ran for 3 days in conjunction with the signs that I was posting worked out really well. The second radio video ad that I asked to do, and I did it for 4 months, and I spent $400 on it. They only mentioned my name once a day. But I thought, okay, they're going to mention my name one time a day at a different time all day long. Somebody should go, oh, yeah, I want to learn more about that. Didn't work. As a matter of fact, it's running for the rest of this month because I already paid for this month. And then it's done. And it did not result in anything. I was very disappointed with that. And I don't know if I'm going to ask for, I'll take the remainder of my balance back, or if I'm going to run that campaign that I did last spring for summer learning again. I might just do that and just use up the funds on that, because last summer I was swamped with kids. But here's the other thing. I don't know how busy I want to be this summer, because my grandchildren are moving back from Chicago to a small town that's about an hour from my house. So instead of being 8 hours away, they're only going to be an hour away. And gosh, I think I want to see them. I want to spend time with them. So I really have to determine, what does that look like for me? And if I keep the current students that I have 10 students, and that is enough for me to say I'm booked. I'm maybe not fully booked. I would always take more students, but it works really well. And as a matter of fact, if you're a parent and you're looking for a reading, writing, spelling tutor, I am available. Okay, so one more thing on that third mistake that I'm talking about as far as spending money was I didn't realize how easy it was to boost, B-O-O-S-T, boost something, and you pay Meta and you get more visibility. Now I've got something still running out there, and I'm not sure what it is, because I've got another thing on my Meta that said I was charged $3 and, I don't know, 28 cents. So something must still be running in the background, and I just have to go in and turn it off. So that was probably just a couple people clicked on something to learn more about me. But I think it was Joanne Kaminsky who said, you have to have 1,000 views of your content by a family before they're going to know, like, and trust you and want their child to work with you. So that's why it's really important to put your information out there, because you have to be able to do it right. All right, well, those were my 3 big mistakes. What do you think? What was your biggest mistake? If you are just tuning in, this is the first time, I hope that you will like and share this with somebody else and subscribe to my channel. And if you've been here before, and you're a small business owner, what was a mistake that you made? All right, I gotta wrap it up. I'm coming to town. See ya. Bye.